What up, fam? It's your boy Adam Butler here to introduce a very special episode of MSR, man. We had an opportunity to sit down with you all, the listeners, the fans, the supporters, to have a live forum discussion on all things Black Panther. That's right. We called that thing Wakanda Talk. It was dope. Loved having the energy in the room from you all, man. It was a beautiful thing. We had good food, good drink. Oh, man, you should have been there. But if you did miss it, don't worry about it because that's what this show is about. We got the live audio from that one, man. So be warned, there is some background noise, and it's not going to sound like the normal studio show. But we really wanted to get you guys opportunity to hear this one and enjoy this one. And also, if you missed Wakanda Talk, don't worry. We're going to be doing more live shows, more live forums. Actually, we're going to do one once a month. That's a little announcement for you guys, man. So keep it locked for that, man. It's going to be on all sorts of topics, all sorts of subjects, and we're also going to have special guests, live interviews. It's going to be a beautiful thing, man. It's one of the natural next steps for MSR. So, again, we appreciate you all. Thank you for constantly supporting us. Those of you that came through Wakanda Talk, thank you for showing up. Those of you that want to come to the next event, we will have information for that one for the people that's in the Washington, D.C. area. Or if you're not in the Washington, D.C. area and you want to come down and join us, that'll be beautiful too. And we're also looking to do bigger things with that, man. Maybe even bringing it to your city at some point. So keep it locked for that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Wakanda Talk.
Check this out.
Finally,
Scream Radio
has come back. Home.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
So LT made a point about giving out the resources of Wakanda and using them. There was a character in the film that was saying that exactly, and that was Nakia, who was the love interest of Black Panther. But one of the questions that I've gotten is the representation of black women in the film, and what does this mean for the future of black heroines? But I just want to talk about the women in the film first, right? Yeah, there we go. They were dope. We can admit that, right? But let me just ask a simple question without getting all deep real quick. Who do you think was your favorite character? Like for me, it was Suri. Right, Suri, the sister was the favorite. My favorite, Shuri, whatever. It's my favorite one. I think she was dope because of the whole STEM aspect. I think she was funny. I think she was lighthearted. But I think that you could flip a coin and say any of them. Okoye. There was an argument we were talking about. There's an argument on Twitter about whether Okoye could beat Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Which was she can't beat Wonder Woman. No, okay, but we could that's wrong. But I think that Wonder Woman was a guy. But I think that it was even interesting that someone would even bring that up. Like, could this black woman beat up someone that's like the daughter of Zeus? That shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And she cannot, but it's still respectable. So what do you all just to that question? What do you all think this does for the future of black women in these type of films? Like, do you think that there will be an Okoye movie or a Nakia movie or a Misty Knight series on her own or something like that? Do you think that can happen? You want to go for it?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Go for it.
I definitely think they're going to start introducing, or I'm hoping they're going to start introducing more black characters into these Marvel films and everything. Mm-hmm. I know I read somewhere that Hollywood, it said that as good as these diversity films do, diverse films in Hollywood do, they don't make enough of them still, even though they do the most of the box office. But I think they're realizing, and I think a lot of them are going to see that a lot of people want to see black people on the film, and not just black people, I mean just other races, other ethnicities as well. So I definitely think they're going to start doing other female superheroes. I know there's a female Iron Man, a black female Iron Man. Yeah. And I'm excited to see that. I want to see little Riri Williams get on stage and actually start, killing it. So I think they're gonna start doing that eventually pretty soon.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I think it's representation is so important right now. Because I'll ask you about this. Like, representation is so important, and white people see themselves on screen all the time, and they get that enjoyment. And even for us as black men, we've had that opportunity to see ourselves in that light. Not many times, but we've had War Machine and Blade and things like that, right? Maybe not a majority cast, but we've seen ourselves. But I think this is one of the first times, besides that terrible, shitty Catwoman movie that came out a few years ago, and maybe if you count Storm, by the way, it's the same black woman played both of these characters, by the way. But like, this is the first time I can remember where you've seen strong, powerful black women in a superhero form on screen. Can you think of another time?
I love Halle Berry though.
We all love Halle Berry.
Don't talk about Halle.
I won't talk about Halle Berry.
It's like black women in an action
Or just in
type
just
of
in that
space.
setting, yeah.
Then I can't think of one. Like, and it felt good. Like, it maybe because I do martial arts too. So I was just like, oh, I gotta train again. Like, like they were on it. You know what I mean? So it felt. I mean, I'm not a person that necessarily seeks out. Like, I don't need to see me. Yeah, like I'm not one that's like, yes, I just needed to see myself represented in this fictional character to feel validated. Like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But it was nice. Like, it was cool. I like to see the trend that is coming along. It was beautiful to see, like, young girls, like, who were at the movie theater dressed up like the warriors, and they doing, like, their little dance routines, too, with the spears and stuff. Like, so in their minds, I can be fierce. I can be bald-headed and fierce and beautiful and be dope and protect everybody. Like, it was just a whole lot of, like, great unchaining of a lot of things that I feel like may have afflicted black women through film representation up until that point.
Yeah.
So, like, even where she's like, the wig is like, I'm rejecting this because this is a symbol of, like, ugliness. Like, I need to go back. Like, my bald head is what makes me, is a symbol of my greatness to everybody else. So putting this thing on top of my head alone is, like, itchy and, like, in the way. Like, I think that scene alone was
and it doesn't make
telling.
Right.
So, yeah.
And even when we went to Target and we were attempted to buy, you know, the speaking piece or whatever, and I told you I found that Black Panther doll, but what we also saw in the NLT was what was the things the girl had? The little gauntlets, you know, and there was a little black girl on the cover of the box, like, with the gauntlets in her hand, and I mean, again, I'm not trying to cite this, I just cannot remember the last time I saw a toy in Target with a little black girl on it that wasn't, like, you know, I mean, it's hard enough to get a black Barbie or a doll baby, you know what I mean? But to have, like, you know, that type of catch.
Derek, after that, good catch.
Thank you. Well, so I'll speak from a personal experience. Well, just personally. So I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I think I saw the movie 3 times. She saw the movie twice. But I think, like, for her, she, not so much just like with being black, but seeing women in a more powerful role. You know, Okoye was the general of the army. You know, her father was in the military, and she was, you know, telling me, like, oh, I thought only men can do that. And so she recognized, like, oh, as a girl, I can do it if I wanted to be in the military. You know, she saw Shuri in a STEM role. You know, primarily you see that as a male-dominated role. And so that had her open her eyes up more. So it's just giving that awareness that girls can, or women can go into these usually male-dominated roles, and then being as a black young girl, as a black woman that has taken on these roles through this movie, I think that's what has the role of these black women have brought awareness to some of these little girls now through this movie, and it helps that, you know, a lot of them look like them. So.
Yeah, definitely. Who was next?
Derek.
You want that?
Sure, I'll go.
Oh,
I think my favorite character was Okoye just because she was a savage. I mean, she was
hardcore.
She was loyal.
Yeah.
You know, she was loyal to duty even though she was conflicted emotionally. It was good to see her, you know, fight that out, fight that internally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just a quick story. It goes to Target also. You know, about the power of this movie, and I was on the fence about coming here tonight. But real talk, coming from Target, little dude, little kid, little brother, running to his car with a bag he just got. His mom walking behind, you know, he was just excited. I'm Black Panther. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what I'm moved by.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm moved by. Just some kid being, you know, he got a superhero now.
Yeah.
I love it, and it became real. And you know, I can't kind of piggyback on what you're saying. You know, my daughter's 9 too, and it's great to have somebody that she can look up to also.
Yeah, that's dope.
Let's just say this, man. That's awesome. The purpose-driven things behind this movie in regard to black people, in regard to black women. And I don't take anything aside. I have nieces and nephews, right? I remember one day I was on the Green Line, and there was these young ladies on there, probably about 15 or 16 years old. And the one girl was talking to the other girl, and she was like, "Girl, you getting so black," and blah blah blah, and she was talking to her in a way of like using blackness in order to demean her, right? So I looked at him, and I was talking to them, and I'm like, "No, you're absolutely beautiful." Like, to see this purpose-driven representation, I mean, of women of all different shades and colors, of dark-skinned women, with everyone with their clothing completely on. You know what I'm saying? In positions of power, whereas they're not using sexuality, they're not overall like brazen and snapping their necks and doing different things like that. Like, all of that stuff matters. It may not, like, you know, Nargis, you're a strong woman. You come from like awesome parents that instill certain things in you, but like everyone doesn't have that. So like for women, and for little girls and even women, like I'm talking about grown women.
I mean, men needed to see it too. I think
That's exactly where I was about to go. That's exactly where I was about to go.
Men needed to see it too, though.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's just another point.
Just another. Y'all needed to know that too.
That's damn, Nark. I was gearing that point up.
You was ready.
I was at my legs crossed. I was ready to give that point. I was ready. I was about to say something intellectual and smart. I'm about to say, black men need to see this as well.
I'm sorry.
Go for it, people.
I'm sorry.
It was poignant, and as an overall, especially the one scene that we talk about when a rhinoceros comes charging and it stops right in the track, and then you know, the husband kneels down. It's one of the best scenes of the whole movie.
Yeah. Just to echo that point, man. No. I mean, honestly, just man. Sorry, bro. No, just to echo that point. I think we are talking a lot about how, and it is important for young girls to see that. Of course, that's obvious, but it's important for young boys to see it too. To see, not just to see T'Challa and the black men being strong, but to see those strong black women and not see them sexualized and not see them put in a position where everything they do is determined by a man. And it was a slippery slope, right? It was a slippery slope to go by, because they could have easily made the mistake of making those women be like total, you know, slaves to all they are is just like these mindless, you know, warriors that only listen to only listen to T'Challa. But what they were people that challenged him from jump. They did, like scene one, Okoye's challenging him. You know what I mean? So it's like he respects her.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He'll listen to her. He respects Nakia. So don't freeze when you see her. Okay, that could be a slippery slope because, oh, she's so fine, he's going to slip up. No, he respects her when she brings up, look, this is what you should do. I can't remember my man's name. I'm just going to call him the dude from Get Out. But the dude from Get Out. Daniel. But what was his name in the movie though? Yeah, him. Anyway, Chris from Get Out. But anyway, but even she. Yes, thank you. Wakabi, she impacts him so much that when he's speaking to him, he's like, "Yo, Nakia wants to do this thing. What do you think about it?" And you can tell it affected him the entire film. So I think it is important for not just young boys, but for men to see this film and see. You know, not that we need to be tricked into what some people really need to do, need to learn how to respect women. But when you see that and you, it just does something to you to see these women and put on screen in a respectful manner. And not having to be, like you said, overly sexualized or dumbed down or anything like that. They were on par with T'Challa, Killmonger, whoever. Go for it, bro.
So here's one thing about the representation for young black boys and young black women. So here's the thing. I saw this on Tumblr the other day, and someone broke it down, and I almost was like, damn. So what somebody said was, T'Challa's the perfect male role model for young men because, one, he's a strong king, you know, he's a superhero, saves people's lives, but he also doesn't hide his emotions. The man cried like almost every movie he was in.
Every scene, my
man. And then he was like really in touch with his emotions, but he was still strong.
Right.
So hopefully young black men will see that and just be like, I'm allowed to cry now. You know, I'm allowed to cry. I mean, Black Panther got to cry, I get to cry. And then with the young black women, they get to see that, you know, not only can they be strong and tough and whip you know, the guys' butts, but also
They're
they
allowed
can be
to cry.
smart about it too.
Yeah.
So like, not everybody has to be Amber Rose or somebody shaking their butt out here to get, you know, fame.
Yeah.
They can be out here being the smartest women in the world,
Yeah.
the kick buttonest women in the world. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get more black women out there like that. So.
Yeah.
So for me, one of my favorite scenes in the film was the scene that you brought about Okoye when she's standing in front of the rhinoceros and the rhinoceros stops. Wakabi gets off of her and asks, you know, "Are you going to kill me, my love?" And she said, "For Wakanda, I would." And he takes it. He kneels. He submits to her. That's something that's very, that, you know, that's a very taboo conversation in the black community. Like we always talk about black women need to be submissive to black men, but you rarely ever see on screen black men being submissive to their woman. And to see that was something that a lot of people needed to see.
In a non-sexual way.
Yes.
Like,
In a non-sexual way.
Love to be respected.
Yeah.
I would do anything for you, even though my views are completely different from yours right now. But I respect you so much that I'm gonna go ahead and take this L, even though I don't want to. But I'm gonna take this L and kneel to you and submit to you because you are my queen.
That Rhino respected her too. Tell him to go in and then the door.
I'm sorry.
Another thing also we talk about is the ability to fail. Like, you know, he failed as a king at first. He was overthrown and then he came back. And we need to teach our youth that you can fail and be successful in life. One thing we don't do these days is we don't show our youth that being smart is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Nice work.
Thank you. You know, but loyalty is a huge thing. He was loyal.
Yeah.
He was loyal. He was loyal to her, and at the end of the day, he proved his loyalty to everyone.
Right.
And honestly, our youth these days, they don't want to be leaders no more. They want to be followers. They follow trends. And the fact that he set the standard for becoming a leader was a good role model aspect of that whole movie. Is that we can teach our kids that you can fail, you can become good role models and leaders without having the ability to think about following trends.
And make it smart cool. You got a company called Make Smart Cool. If you mind if a lady goes first and then
By all means.
So I'm going to the gender dynamic. That was my favorite part of the movie. The fact that women essentially ran everything. I mean, and like I said, going back to my initial statement, I felt like the men were super emotional. Everything that happened was based off emotion. He came in and conquered because he was mad at what happened to his dad. He let the Civil War happen because he was happy that he brought his parents, person to justice. Right. He brought Claw in. And then, of course, Buddy possibly lost the fight because, you know, I'm mad that my dad set you up this way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in my head on some like, yeah, my dad did whatever. So all the men were driven by whatever. But seeing the women not be to the side, but also be in front, you know, and not being behind. Like, I can be adjacent to you and I can also lead you. And that was the most conquering thing I've seen on film ever. You know, and so that dynamic by itself was to see, like, you know, other than just submitting, because you're right, that scene was amazing. But even first seeing his mom, you know, like, his mother wasn't mourning over his dad. Well, she could have been.
Right,
she had every right to be.
Yeah,
but her first thing, I need to make you king.
Yeah,
you know, and it was, we're moving on.
business.
And the same thing when when his sister was about to die, you know, she could have been like, no, don't forget you. My brother will always be better than you. And, you know, he stopped everything and saved her, you know, and everything. So the women were the movie. Like, that's why everything happened, because the women were the drive. And it would be nice to see that happen in society, or the dynamic. Go back to that, like, you are to protect your women. At the end of the day, Tupac said it, whoever said it, that's what we need, because that's what's right. If we're gonna go back to the moral or the theme of all the every scene, well, did my dad do what's right? Did I do what's right? The whole question was a common thing, which I appreciate. It wasn't colorism, which it could have been. It was what is right. What was right for my dad at the time made sense. It might have been right. You're a traitor. We're leaving you here. Right. That was wrong. I did what's right. Well, now I want to be king. What is right? So that thing was great. But the women dynamic was awesome. I appreciated that on so many levels.
Love that.
Real quick, to just off of the, I think one of the overall things about even that exchange was respect. Like even more than submitting and this and that. It's that everyone, the men had a respect for the women had a respect for the men. I think that's something that I love that the film displayed, that you can just have. We don't even need the power dynamic, the struggle. Who's going to submit? Who's not going to submit? Let's have mutual respect for one another. There's both things that we both bring to this table that makes this whole thing drive. So let's respect both of it and praise both of it. Like I'm not larger than you. You aren't. We aren't subservient to you or anything. We're both strong. We both have respect, and I love how they displayed that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gabe.
So, as a parent of 3 daughters that range from 19 to 8.
Wow. That work, boy.
Yeah.
Seeing as a parent, as a man,
yes, sir.
Seeing the representation, the way that women were represented in this movie was important to me because I haven't been able to give that to my children. Right? Not on film. I can do it every day in my own life.
Right.
I can see it, but it wasn't just, it's not just seeing it, right? It was important who Shuri was, how smart she is, what, you know what I mean, what she can do. But a character, a role like Nakia's role, where essentially from the beginning of the film, he's asking without asking her to be his queen.
Right.
He wants her to be beside him because he sees her, he sees what she, you know what I mean, what she, and for her it's like, in almost any other movie, she would have jumped at the chance to be the queen.
Right.
You know what I mean? For her, it was like, I
slow me down.
have bigger, strong. You know, there are other things that are more important to me
Than Wakanda.
than being
Than
right
your
there.
queen.
Not necessarily being Wakanda.
No, but being your queen.
Yeah, being your